Oh, Jesus Christ. Blah. It's time for some more YouTube exclusive content.
YouTube exclusive content.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on making this video. I'm in the middle of editing another video right now for some YouTube exclusive content that's taking me forever. Turns out that these YouTube videos that are longer than TikTok videos, they take longer to make because the TikTok videos are really short. And when it's longer and has a script that you got to write and there's more video, it takes longer to make it. But this thing happened and I felt like, yeah, there's enough here for me to do a quickie little YouTube exclusive on it. So yeah, you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title of the video. We're going to be talking a little bit about gender reveal parties. And I know that this feels like maybe something that's kind of outdated to be talking about in an internet commentary video. It kind of feels like we were already doing the whole critique of gender reveal parties in like 2016 or 2018, thereabouts. But it turns out that still in the year 2023, gender reveal parties are still very much a thing that is happening and that people are having a hard time kind of letting go of. So to start things off here, we're going to watch a TikTok video that I made. So just be prepared for that. It's going to be okay. It's like 5 minutes long. We're going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to keep the sides of the frame in view so it feels like the aspect ratio is still staying wide, but do whatever you got to do to self-soothe, get comfortable, maybe get a nice little hot cup of tea, settle in, and I'll be right back. It's going to be fine. I promise. This will be the only TikTok video that we watch, and then the rest will just be like this. So can we just stop? Is that enough? Can we just say that's enough? Can we just say that's enough of those and we're done doing that now, forever? Please, for the love of God, please, we gotta be done. We gotta be done. This just has to be like a thing that people used to do, and it's now just like an awkward, embarrassing footnote in the history of humanity that we're like, yeah, between like 2010 and 2023, we did this weird thing for a little bit, and we stopped. We knocked it off, thankfully. I've had friends do these. I've had people close to me do these. I see people doing these that I know regularly, and I keep my mouth shut. I don't say anything because I don't want to be the biggest bummer about everything all the time. I want you to be able to be excited about things. You're having a kid and you're excited about that. And I get that. And that is exciting. And I want you to be able to celebrate that. But you gotta find a better way to do it. You just have to. That person died. Yeah. That person flying the plane crashed and died. And everybody watching was just like, woo, pink baby, pink. We're having a pink baby. Pink for vagina, blue for penis, woo. And that's the other thing about gender reveal parties, aside from them being tacky and tasteless and basic and boring and, reckless and often life-threateningly dangerous. The other thing about them is the whole, gender aspect of them. Like, conservatives are always talking about how the left is trying to indoctrinate kids with gender ideology, but people are literally out here having massive celebrations of an unborn child's gender based on what genitals it had on an ultrasound. And it's not just conservatives doing it. It's conservatives and moderates and liberals. I don't think that there are a whole lot of leftists doing these parties, but there are a lot of people mixed into the political spectrum who think that these parties are fun and cool. And the reality is that aside from the parties being tacky and tasteless and boring and basic, you don't know what gender your baby is going to be. You don't know that. That's a weird thing to have a party about. Like, statistically, if they look with an ultrasound and baby's got a little penis, it's most likely to identify as a boy. And statistically, if you look in there and baby's got a little vagina, it's most likely going to identify as a girl. But, like, people are trans, people are non-binary. You very easily could be looking at a baby on an ultrasound that got a little vagina, but it's gonna identify as a boy because that's a thing that happens. You could also be looking on the ultrasound at a little penis, but there could be other parts that you're not seeing that effectively make that unborn infant in utero actually intersex. You're being weird. You're being weird people when you do this. It's like every bit as weird as if you were to have a sexuality reveal party for an unborn child. Like, let's say you got a little baby in there that's got a little penis, and then, like, you have a party with your friends, and you break a piñata, and a bunch of Monster Energy drinks fall out, and you're like, we're having a straight baby! It's straight! And, like, yeah, it might be kind of fun to go to a sexuality reveal party where the little baby in utero is determined to be gay, and when the piñata explodes, it shoots rainbow confetti everywhere, and Glamazon by RuPaul starts blaring in the party, and everybody starts voguing. Like, that might be kind of a good time, but it's also weird to do that. You're just having this huge party celebrating a massive part of an unborn child's identity before they're even here, before you even get to know them, before they even have a chance to get to know themselves. You're just making this determination for them and getting all your friends and family together to, like, assert that this is who the kid is going to be, and you're literally getting people fucking killed over it. Like, we have to grow, y'all. We have to evolve. We have to, like, get bigger than this. Like, the aliens are here, and they don't want to talk to us until we stop doing gender reveal parties. And racism, and homophobia, and transphobia, and misogyny, and war, and nuclear weapons, and capitalism. All right, we made it. We did it. That was the whole video. We did it. That was fun, right? I mean, it's not fun. A guy died, and that's real, and that's not fun at all. That's awful. But the video, it's okay, right? Look, I'll be honest. I'm aware that in that video, my tone is less than diplomatic. It doesn't feel like I'm inviting people in to examine their old thought patterns and to consider changing and evolving. It kind of feels more like I'm just being really judgmental and harsh. And I can see that and hear that and own that. But I think that the overall points that I'm making in the video are clear and cogent and more or less good. Now, it's the kind of video that's obviously going to draw the ire of conservatives in the comments. Anytime you're making content that's pointing out the existence of the gender hierarchy and calling into question the reality of the gender binary, conservatives are going to come out of the woodwork to seethe. But a lot of people in my audience really struggled with this video. The first thing that I noticed a lot of in the comments section for that video, like I'm talking 10, 20, 30 minutes after posting, was just a lot of people posting about their gender reveal party that they did and saying things like, oh man, what's wrong with people these days? Why do you have to blow stuff up? Why do you have to fly a biplane over your yard? I just did pink cupcakes, or me and my husband just released some blue balloons out of a box into the sky, or we just posted a pink doll on Facebook. Why can't people just keep it simple? You don't have to get anyone hurt that way. And I do think that those people were largely missing the greater point of the video that they were commenting on. I even made another video just talking about that, and we are going to watch that now as well. I'm so sorry. I said that we were done watching TikTok videos. We're just going to watch one more. This one's shorter. It's going to be done quicker, and then no more TikTok videos after that. Seriously, YouTube video exclusive style after this one. For real this time. Seriously, I mean it. So many of you in the comments of that video being like, I didn't kill a pilot at my gender reveal party. Nobody died at our gender reveal party. We didn't start a forest fire. And it's like, cool, good for you. That's great. But, you know, people blowing things up and starting forest fires and getting people killed is only like one problem with gender reveal parties. The whole other part of the video that you commented on is the gender aspect. Like, why? Why? Why are you doing this at all? Whether it's cupcakes or confetti or balloons, why are you having a big party to celebrate your unborn child's assumed gender? Why are you doing that? Why? What is that about? What is that tied to? Why do you feel the need to like insist on this? To just like assert like girl, 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 or boy, boy, boy. Why is this so important to you? Why are you doing this? Why are you working so hard to enforce something that's so big about a person's identity, like their gender, like something that's so big about the way that they're going to experience life and move through the world, and you're just like insisting on this for this unborn person without consulting them, without knowing them. Like, you haven't met this person yet. You don't even know what kind of person they're going to wind up being, and you're just like, you are pink or you are blue. Why? Why are you doing that? Think about it. Really think about it. I know that you're excited about having a kid. I get that. Cool. But like, just think a little bit about why. Why is it so necessary to have a gender reveal party? It's not. It's weird. Stop, please. Okay, we did it. That's all of them. That's all the TikTok videos. I'm really proud of you. You made it. Let's just stay here for the rest of the time that you're watching this. So I want to look at more of the comments from both of these videos, because like I said earlier, people were really struggling with these videos to a degree that kind of surprised me, to a degree that actually inspired me to make this video. I felt like people were struggling with it so much that like it warranted us talking more about it at greater length. Because I think that overall what I was seeing as a common theme in these comments is this is just an issue that in many ways we have not even really begun to evolve in the right direction on. Despite the rise in popularity for what traditional conservatives would call woke gender ideology, we are still, in many ways, as a society and a culture across the political spectrum, very dug in on old-fashioned gender norms and traditions surrounding gender norms. And I don't necessarily think that that comes from a malicious place. I don't think that that always comes from people wanting to push back against progressivism or wokeism and push back against the idea that gender is a spectrum. I don't think it's always coming from a bad place. I think that for a lot of people who participate in things like gender reveal parties, it's just coming from a place of thoughtlessness. Like, we're just not thinking about it very deeply. So yeah, anyway, let's look at some comments. The first kind of comment that we're going to look at that I got a whole bunch of is people who were like the person I was responding to in that second TikTok video that we watched. People who were letting me know what kind of gender reveal party they had and letting me know that their party was okay because no one died at their party. We did a fake pumpkin with a smoke bomb in it. We have close friends and family, and it was sweet. I called people on the phone and said, hey, it's this kind of baby. My daughter did a Facebook post. I said she was being a little extra, but okay. I've had 2 gender reveals. One was just a shirt where my husband made handprints into the shape of a heart in a color to reveal the gender. We just posted a picture. The second time was a video of my son tearing into a cupcake with pink filling. A small group of family members had cupcakes. We posted a video. No balloons, explosions, aircraft. We didn't start any fires. Fun times. I love a gender reveal party, but for the love of humanity, be safe. I don't know. I'm non-binary, and we had one. It was a way to celebrate reaching that milestone in our pregnancy and for others to feel involved in it. Pregnancy is hard. It was a welcomed break. Look, I get it. I think most of these things are very reasonable on the surface and appear to be incredibly tame and harmless. Pregnancy is hard, pregnancy is weird, pregnancy is anxiety-inducing, pregnancy is exciting. It's a very strange, abnormal time in a person's life. And we have culturally created a lot of ways to celebrate and acknowledge and commemorate that span of time. And again, I would just go back to, like, why is a traditional baby shower not sufficient? Why is taking maternity photos where you're doing, photos with your baby bump not sufficient? Why is posting a photo of the first ultrasound not sufficient? And just saying, hey, look, we got a little bun in the oven. We got a little person growing in there. I think there are so many ways that you can celebrate and commemorate this time in your life without one of those things being a gender reveal party. Yeah, but so what, Austin? I hear you saying. Why do you care? Why do you care how people celebrate if it doesn't hurt anyone? And I know you're saying that because a bunch of you said that in the comments on the other videos. So we're going to read those comments now. How about let people do what they want and mind your business? Let people have their joy. If they're not hurting anyone, let them be. But telling other people they aren't allowed to celebrate their children is odd behavior. Get the fuck over it! It does not affect you literally at all. Let people be happy, FFS! So yeah, you get the idea. They just sort of went on like that. There were a bunch of those. And they all say more or less the exact same thing, right? What's the problem? Let people celebrate how they want to celebrate if it's not hurting anyone. So there's two parts of this kind of response that I take issue with. The first is, people implying that I'm not allowing people to be happy about things. I'm not allowing people to celebrate things that they want to celebrate. Like, this guy literally says, how should we celebrate birth in our society? Should we celebrate it at all? And it's really got the same energy to me as, like, the boss who says, like, oh, am I just not allowed to give people compliments anymore when he's reprimanded for sexual harassment in the workplace? It's a straw man argument, and I want a lot of you to pay attention because I get a lot of people in my comments who don't know what a straw man fallacy is. It's this. The people making these comments are arguing against the idea that I'm saying they're not allowed to celebrate their baby. They're not allowed to be happy about having a baby. And that's not an argument that I ever made. Remember, in the first video, when I said this, I want you to be able to be excited about things. You're having a kid, and you're excited about that. And I get that, and that is exciting, and I want you to be able to celebrate that. Oh my God, I just realized that I already told you that we weren't going to watch TikToks anymore in this video, but it was just a clip of a TikTok that we had already watched, so that doesn't count, right? We're good. Yeah? But yeah, so you see they're like, I'm definitely not saying that you're not allowed to be excited about having a baby. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying that you're not allowed to celebrate your excitement. I'm just saying there are so many ways available to you to do that that don't involve having a party centered around assuming your unborn child's gender. And in the process, inadvertently reinforcing gender hierarchy and outdated gender norms and the gender binary. Which brings me to my other problem with this kind of comment. People saying, let us do what we want to do, we're not hurting anyone. So I guess the first question to ask yourself is, in the abstract, is it possible to inadvertently do harm even if you did not intend to do harm? And the answer to that question is, of course, yes. It happens all the time. People do harm all the time without meaning to. And I guess another question you could ask yourself is it possible for an event where everyone was happy and smiling and having a great time? Is it possible for something like that to be a source for pain or harm in the world? And the answer to that question is, again, unfortunately, yeah, it is. I mean, look at this picture of a bunch of white people at a lynching, just having a grand old time. Look how happy all of these patriots were who were trying to overthrow democracy on January 6th at the Capitol. So I guess the real question to ask yourself, the real specific question to ask yourself about this specific issue is, how does a gender reveal party cause harm or hurt people, even if that harm or hurt is done inadvertently? And the answer to that question is that very real harm is done to the communities that are most oppressed and marginalized by the gender hierarchy every time we do things that reinforce and strengthen the gender hierarchy. Now, of course, the gender hierarchy is bad for everyone, even cisgender men who sit atop the gender hierarchy. Patriarchy is bad for everybody, but it's more bad and more harmful for people who are members of communities that sit lower on the gender hierarchy pyramid. And if we are going to approach the massive project of trying to dismantle something as pervasive as the gender hierarchy, we are going to have to be willing to dismantle everything in our society that supports that hierarchy and reinforces it. And that includes gender reveal parties. Another kind of comment that I saw a lot of was just people who were going all the way out of their way to deliberately miss everything that I was saying in either of those videos. Like Chris, who said, "Is your next video going to be about shaming people who learn the sex of their baby before birth?" Now, I actually responded to Chris and I said, "No, but I am going to use this bad comment as an example of poor media literacy / comprehension in my next YouTube video if you want to watch that." Sometimes I think it's fun to be a little snarky, sassy boy in the comments. But Chris, I told you I'd talk about your comment in this video, and here we are, so let's get into it for a little bit, Christopher. Now, Chris made a response video to my comment where he explained why he felt the way that he felt. I'm going to link that video in the description so you can watch it for yourself. But basically, Chris just talked about how he felt that my tone in both of my original TikTok videos came off as judgmental and shamey. And Chris is definitely not entirely in the wrong to point that out. I already pointed that out in this video, that I feel like my tone maybe could have been a little warmer, a little more inviting, a little less harsh. But when it comes to media literacy, media comprehension, especially if you're trying to interpret the meaning of a video that exists in the socio-political commentary space, listening for the musicality of tone is only one way that you can go about trying to decipher where a person's head and heart may be at. Tone definitely can communicate subtextual emotional layers to what a person is saying that they might not be voicing out loud explicitly. But I think when watching creators that operate in the socio-political commentary space, and definitely when watching a creator like me, it's always going to be much more useful and effective to pay attention to the specific and precise choice of words that that creator is using. Just speaking for myself, I am very intentional and specific about my language, or at least I try to be. And in both of those original videos, I went out of my way to intentionally and specifically say that I am not intending to cancel anyone for being excited or to take anyone's joy away, that I understand being excited about having a kid and I want people to be able to be excited. It's completely possible for a person to be speaking in a very calm, cool, collected, diplomatic way while saying things that are objectively awful and bad. And likewise, it's also possible for someone to be speaking in a tone that's very effusive and loud and passionate and harsh, while also making very salient and good and valid arguments. So if you base your interpretation and analysis of a person's words on tone and nothing but tone, you're likely going to wind up misinterpreting people's words a lot of the time. Wait, why are you bitching and moaning? You act like the gender reveal was the reason for the mechanical failure of the plane. Condolences to the family. I also think gender reveals are way over the top. However, blaming a gender reveal for a plane malfunction is wild to me. I'm confused. RIP to the pilot, though. Yeah. A lot of comments like this too, and again, just you're off the map. You're nowhere near the actual subject matter at hand. So, like for one, straw man, I at no point in any of my videos suggested that this party caused that plane to crash. I mean, the pilot literally would not have been in that situation if these people had not hired the pilot to crop dust a bunch of pink shit over their gender reveal party. But that's not the same thing as me saying that the party caused the plane to malfunction. Like, I am upset that pilot is no longer alive. That bothers me. And I am upset at how regularly these gender reveal parties seem to get really violently out of hand. But that's not really the point here, right? Like, that's clearly not the main focus of the discussion that I'm trying to have in any of these videos. Like, for sure, stop being so needlessly reckless and violent at your weird baby parties. But more importantly, the thing that I actually am interested in talking about is, why are these kinds of parties a thing at all? Why are we doing these? So let's go to the part of the video where we talk about that, where we talk about, why are we like this? Why do we do these things that we do? Well, I'll tell you the literal, actual reason why we do gender reveal parties, and then I'll give you my armchair analysis theory on why we might be doing them. But the literal reason why gender reveal parties exist and are a thing is just because one woman did it one time in 2008 and got popular on the internet for doing it, and then everybody else from 2008 to now was like, I want to do it too, because a lot of people have a hard time coming up with interesting, original ideas of their own and are kind of basic. That's why I call gender reveal parties kind of basic. There's nothing wrong with being basic, by the way. I love a pumpkin spice latte. I love a good little sweet, simple thing, a thing that works. It's fine to be basic, but, gender reveal parties, so basic. But yeah, the woman who first popularized gender reveal parties back in 2008, her name is Jenna Carvunidis. So yeah, she did a gender reveal party for her first child back in 2008. It was her original idea, but you know what's really fun is that she has since come out in just so many national and international publications to say that she really regrets starting this trend and she wishes that she never had. In a viral 2019 post, she wrote, "Who cares what gender the baby is? I did at the time because we didn't live in 2019 and didn't know what we know now. That assigning focus on gender at birth leaves out so much of their potential and talents that have nothing to do with what's between their legs." Isn't it fun that she wrote that in 2019, being like, I thought this stuff all the way back in 2008. We weren't nearly as evolved as we are now. Well, it's 2023, Jenna, and we're still doing them. So she also said, let children be. Let them explore. The gender norms have become so rigid and narrow. It's a wonder anyone can breathe. We can't reduce kids to guns or glitter, so let's stop. And I just want to say that, what Jenna's doing there, that's it. That's all that I'm inviting you in the audience to do if this video has been making you feel particularly defensive. It's totally okay if you had a gender reveal party in the past without thinking about it much. I'm not here to shame you for that or to say that you are a bad person because of that. But it's also good for all of us to be able to see ways that we may have consciously or unconsciously reinforced or propped up old gender norms and gender stereotypes in the past, and to be able to say, I don't feel that way anymore, and I will change my behavior going forward. So yeah, now my little armchair theory on why this might be happening. I can't prove any of this, obviously, but I have this feeling that the reason why what Jenna did became so viral and popular in our culture may have something to do with us, and when I say us, I'm talking predominantly about cisgender heteronormative people. It may have something to do with us responding to or pushing back on the challenge to gender norms that has been popularized in the early 21st century. Whether we're advocates or allies of gender nonconforming people or not, we may be consciously or unconsciously using gender reveal parties to push back on the rise in representation for gender nonconforming people. And again, like, we could be doing this completely unconsciously. We could be doing this while thinking of ourselves as allies and advocates. We could totally believe ourselves to be on the team of gender nonconforming people while also unconsciously acting out in ways that push back on the rise of gender nonconforming ideas, unconsciously acting out in ways that reinforce old gender norms and old gender stereotypes, because maybe some part of us is not yet ready to psychologically and or spiritually move on from and let go of those things. So, you know, a gender reveal party might be a subtle way to insist upon and reinforce the concept of the fixed gender binary that we were all raised with. Again, I can't prove any of this. I don't have any data to back any of this up. It's just, you know, my theory, my idea, my opinion. I'm probably right, though. The last kind of comment that I got a lot of that I want to address is people who are making a good faith effort to genuinely respond to my question of why. Why are we doing this? Why is this a thing that we're not questioning more? Why is this a thing that we're just sort of tacitly going along with without actually thinking about? Paint It said, I have a genuine answer for you. It's because sex, not gender, is the first differentiating feature you learn about a child, and parents are excited. And Hungarian Hitman said, because people want to know if they're having a boy or a girl, since that's the first thing people ask you while pregnant also. So I get this. I get that people are just saying, hey, look, it's just sort of a cultural norm that when you're pregnant, people are going to ask you if you're having a boy or a girl. And again, I get that. I get that it has been our cultural norm to want to know these things, that it has been our cultural norm to assume the gender of unborn people. I understand that. I understand that what I'm talking about here is a relatively new and radical concept. And I get that adapting to things like that can be very hard. But you know, I'm just offering you an invitation to think more about it and to be more thoughtful about it, because asking a person who is pregnant or a couple who is having a baby, hey, are you having a boy or a girl, might be a culturally normative question to ask. But that doesn't mean that it's not an inappropriate, or some might even say totally whack thing to ask a person, as evidenced by this video of a conversation that I made up for the purposes of illustrating the point that I'm currently trying to illustrate. So are you having a boy or a girl? We've been blessed with a little boy. Oh, how lovely. And will the child be cisgender or trans? What? I'm wondering if the child will be cisgender or transgender. I assume cisgender, right? Why would you assume that? Well, how do you know that it's a boy? Because the doctor showed us his penis on the sonogram. Yeah, that's what I figured. The doctor showed you that it's got a little penis, and according to traditional heteronormative gender ideology, penis equals boy, which means cisgender. So I couldn't possibly know that since I haven't met the child yet, and honestly, I find you asking me whether my unborn child will be cisgender or trans to be kind of fucked up. But it's effectively the same question as asking you if you're having a boy or a girl. It is. It's the same. It's the same question. It's the same question. It's the same question. Thank you. And I know that that's weird. I know that that's like a weird linguistic thing to wrap your head around. But asking someone if their unborn child is going to be a boy or a girl based on nothing other than which genitalia was present in the sonogram of that unborn child implicitly assumes that that child will be cisgender. So you are effectively asking in that same question whether that child will be cisgender or transgender, which is obviously an absurd thing to ask about a person who has not been born yet, but that's kind of the whole point that I'm trying to make here. Asking someone if they're having a boy or girl might be culturally normal. It might be culturally normal for us to predetermine the gender of our unborn children, but that doesn't make it not bad or not weird. I would actually argue that even though it's culturally normative to gender unborn children, it might be a cultural norm that we might want to retire. Just sort of altogether, just get rid of it. Just stop doing it. Look, I really don't want to belabor this point too much. I just sort of feel like this is a thing that a lot of you are going to get stuck on. I feel like I can hear you already typing on your keyboards like, "You're wrong, Austin. Those two questions are not the same. You're reaching. They're different." But they are the same. They just are. They are, I promise. Try to think of it this way, if it helps. Is it possible for you to know whether a child will be cisgender or transgender before they're born? The answer to that question is no, right? There's no way for you to definitively determine that before meeting the child. Therefore, it is not possible for you to definitively determine whether that child will identify as a boy or a girl, a man or a woman, or as non-binary. And I think the reason why this is going to be hard for some of you to hear is because you probably have kids, and you, in all likelihood, raised those kids under the assumption that they were cisgender. And hearing me say this maybe makes you feel instinctively on some level like I'm attacking you. I'm saying this as an indictment of your parenting. But I promise you that's not what's happening. I'm not saying this to shame you or to make you feel bad. I'm only saying this because it's true. It just is. It's just a thing that is true. And I think we should start acknowledging that it's true and acting accordingly. So anyway, yeah, I think that this video more or less just comes down to like, think more about it. Just like before you react, before you jump into the comments and explain why the gender reveal party that you had was totally fine, or why I'm overreacting, or why it's not cool to tell people that they can't be happy about something. Just think for a second about like, why would we do this as a culture? Why would this be a thing? Why would this be part of the process? Why this emphasis on the importance of gender? Why this focus on the unborn child being one of only two options? Blue or pink, boy or girl. Why would that at all be a thing that would be important for a family to know and determine and assert before the child has even come out and begun living and moving around and doing people things? All right, great. Cool. Patreon.com/Austin Archer if you want to support this channel and the things that I do. You can listen to my music on Spotify or Apple Music, or you can listen to my podcast, watch my podcast here on friggin' YouTube. Yeah, we're done. Stop having gender reveal parties. Stop it.
I'm a soy boy.